Hey, welcome to a special edition of Get Real and rnews.news. I'm Tom Lemons, here to talk about something that went on at the Board of County Commissioners today in Hernando County. So, the previous meeting, I believe it was July 6th. I can't remember the date. It's irrelevant. They brought in some nonprofits who were supposed to receive some federal block grants that had to be, it's confusing and complicated, but a federal block grant is something that money comes from the federal government, goes into the county commission, and then the county commission disperses the money, and then they get the money back. It's very complicated. But anyways, there were a few organizations that they didn't agree on determining whether they should get the funds last meeting. So this time they came back. Those nonprofits, of course, are none other than Dawn Center and United Way. Now, Steve Champion, obviously Commissioner Steve Champion, is very vocal. He was very vocal about United Way. He really despises the corporate office and the DEI and some of the things that he discovered online. But that's not the topic we're going to cover today. We're going to be talking about dishonesty. We're going to be talking about lying. And it's a prominent law firm in Brooksville doing just that. So today they brought in, again, Dawn Center, a representative for Dawn Center, Jennifer C. Ray of the Hogan Law Firm, to stand in and represent Dawn Center on behalf of trying to gain this funding through the Board of County Commissioners. Well, the issue last time was that they were allowed, that the Dawn Center, because of the federal laws, the statute that they have through the Violence Against Women Act, Joe Biden's signature legislation, allows them to bring biological males into the facility to live among women and children. So let's watch a little short clip of that real quick, just to kind of get a feel of how that went today.
There were definitely some concerns about incidences that were reported where there were males that were identifying as females who are being apparently housed in the same areas as females.
So if a transgender or other type of individual comes in, then they would be provided a room consistent with their disclosure on any application.
So again, that was the main focus today. So yes, transgender women, which are biological males, do live among women and children in the facility. Now, the way that Jennifer went on to explain it is that they don't have to, if they say that they're a woman, even if they're a man, that's all they have to write down. They can't make a judgment. However, she says that the director can make a determination what room they put them in. The problem is they never mention children today at all, just women. And they never mention the fact that this is an entire building. Just because there's rooms, they all share a kitchen, they all share restrooms, and I don't know if there's padlocks on each room. So does it really matter? It's like they're still living in the same house. But that's not the big issue today. Now we're going to get to the lying part. So Jennifer Ray, again, working for the Hogan Law Firm, she went ahead today and Commissioner Champion asked her a very specific question about some of the issues with Dawn Center that have been talked about for years. I mean, I've been reporting on Dawn Center for a long time. Women come to me who have been former clients telling me disgusting things that go on in there, prostitution, drug abuse, just about everything you can think of, and that most of the women there aren't even there for domestic violence reasons. Neighbors have contacted me, and multiple former employees stating the same thing. One former employee said that they forged documents to collect federal funding. Has there ever been an investigation? Of course not. The sheriff ignores it, never investigated them. None of the claims, the FDLE, the state, the DOJ, the FBI, nobody They've all been contacted numerous times, and not a single investigation has taken place. Let's take a look at this clip.
Some of the concerns, they say there's rampant drugs in these facilities. There's been prostitution there, and that, I mean, I don't know. I haven't talked to Doug about this, but Doug Corvat supposedly has deputized advocates and given them personal phone numbers of judges. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just asking a question because it was brought to me. So, any of that true?
So thank you for the question. I know the source of that information.
Okay.
And I can tell you that none of that is true.
Well, that's interesting. None of that is true. Now, remember, this is the attorney that represents Dawn Center. The representative who should know everything about Dawn Center, including the director, Shannon Sokolowski, right? Well, take a look at these records because, yes, they have. County Clerk Doug Corvat provided me all the records that shows at least 7 advocates. These are voluntary advocates at the Dawn Center who get paid positions at the clerk's office to work with women as an intake for injunctions. But there's another caveat that I haven't mentioned yet. Jennifer Ray of the Hogan Law Firm was the one who initiated the lawsuit against me a few years back, several years, 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, because of a video clip. So they're suing me right now. This is an ongoing lawsuit that's just hanging out there for no reason, right? Because we got judges that are not going to throw it out, right? They're going to let it hang because they're involved too. I mean, this is like a Twilight Zone here. But yes, there's a current lawsuit. They want to sue me because I told the truth. And boy, you should have been in that deposition recently. Oh my God. They are trying so hard to make me out to be some kind of zealot against domestic violence, right? No, not any. No, what they're trying to do is take away the legitimacy of my journalistic integrity and turn it into some kind of blogger, advocate, hating women kind of thing. Absolutely the opposite of the truth. Now, not only that, now this is something that you got to watch. If you haven't seen it yet, you've got to go to my documentary, Behind the Gate. You got to go to YouTube, Behind the Gate by Tom Levins. You got to type that in. It'll explain the entire, what I consider a fraud. It's a federal fraud. It's not just Dawn Center. This is across the country, but these shelters, these nonprofits are just stealing your money by the millions. But back to the point. Not only did they deputize all of these advocates to work in the clerk's office, helping women or whoever to get domestic violence injunctions, but they also get the private cell phone numbers of every judge in the county. Not only that, the whole circuit, the 5th Circuit. So, is that a conflict? Well, all the other county clerks in the entire state says it is. I personally talked to every single one, and they all said they would never do that. Emphatically said they would never. They knew it's a conflict. And then when I told them, wait, do you give them the phone numbers too? They would never give the private phone numbers to an advocacy group that stands in domestic violence court on behalf of a plaintiff. I mean, that's just common sense, isn't it? Now, what I'm going to do now is just let you watch a trailer, which, again, this movie it came out a few years back. But I want you to watch a trailer. It has, because this woman, Jennifer Ray, who lied to the Board of County Commission by saying, no, none of that's true. Well, she's basically calling every victim of domestic violence who's complained about prostitution, drug abuse, violence, fraud, and all the above, that they're all just liars. So the Hogan Law Firm, the big Hogan Law Firm, former sheriff's office attorney, the premier attorney's office in Hernando County, just lied to the Board of County Commissioners to sway their vote on money and funding that would go to the Dawn Center, and just bold-faced lied. So take a look at this video.
We don't need to find torches and needles and spoons and knives for the little ones to play with, you know?
The women would meet over by the gate and they would trade like drugs back and forth and money.
The drugs, the prostitution.
We're homeless, junkies, prostitutes.
Out and out kicking and beating a child.
Please explain to me how the sheriff can sit on that board, Mr. Neenhouse. He was taking girls from our facility, and while they were in jail, he was trying to help rehabilitate them.
Billions and billions of dollars. Well, it's a pot of gold in that the shelters, the refuges, in most cases, are money-making machines.
We should probably look into this to make sure that our tax dollars that are going to this, are, there's no, truth to any of this stuff. I don't know. First off, tax dollars shouldn't go to it, but I was outvoted 4-1, so.
A woman could kidnap her children. She can go to the Dawn Center, and there's nothing you can do about it. We can transfer her to another shelter anywhere in the United States.
I am guilty of answering that hotline and selling a program that didn't exist.
If Biden's domestic violence law passes, women will use this as leverage in divorce. Bizarre.
To do the protective order as part of your case, it gives you more leverage in negotiating settlement. That makes it a pretty heavy tool in negotiating divorce.
I can't think of a time in history when the women in the Western world en masse turned against men and fathers.
There's an allegation about a crime committed, especially with taxpayer dollars. Of course, the sheriff should investigate.
Am I afraid of showing my face on this video? Yes.
I don't have much. I don't. But I know I had enough to help that young lady get away from that gate.
So again, are they liars? I mean, they're not the only ones. She's not the only one. It's always the politicians. It's always, the deep state. It's the establishment. It's the corruption. This county is just a cesspool of corruption. And this nonprofit brings in $2.5 million a year in federal funding, just like all the others across the country. And listen, I am not just attacking Dawn Center. I have looked up the DOJ investigations across the country. Multiple shelters have been investigated and their directors arrested on several different types of charge of stealing money. This is not unique. This has happened. People have gone to prison for stealing because they're working in these domestic violence shelters knowing they can just take whatever they want. Look it up. It's going to be hard to find because they make it difficult, but it's there. Now listen, what is the problem with these women working in the clerk's office, right? You say, well, what is the problem? Well, women have come to me and said they are told to lie, embellish, make up things to get their injunction approved by the judge. So you've got the clerks, the advocates working in the clerk's office to influence the victim. You got the judge and the phone numbers so that the advocates can call the judge if they want to and have ex parte communication with the judges. That's not a conflict of interest. Check this out.
She told me to tell them that I got punched in the face because I didn't do the chores and didn't cook dinner. You need to tell me what you're writing down before you write it down so we can add to it. And she's like, I need to lie. Mm-hmm. And she said it just like that. I'm like, I'm not comfortable lying. I'm not a liar. And she's like, oh, so he killed the cats. I'm like, I can't prove that. Yeah. I wasn't there. She goes, write down that he killed your cats. That's not what I said. She goes, write that down. And she goes, tell them that your parents found them all bloody. I'm like, that's not what they said. They said they found my cats dead inside the house. I'm not a liar. Makes me to make me feel like I have to lie, destroyed me.
And so there you have it. Who else is going to tell you this? Who else is going to dig this up and tell you the truth? No one. The mainstream media is bought and paid for, and they really don't care. right? It's about butterfly stories for them. They're not going to go after this stuff. Doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. I'm the only one that's going to bring this to you, and I'm going to continue to bring this to you. So follow me on Get Real on my YouTube channel, Tom Lemon's R News, Adventure Coast Journal on Facebook, R News Plus, just our website, rnews.news. But again, Get Real with Tom Lemons is the main Facebook page for this broadcast. So you make a decision what you think about this and what you think about federal funding in a red county going to pay for what you heard and also continuing to support what I consider a fraudulent criminal enterprise. That's all we got today. And we'll see you again next time on Get Real.